It's January 2023. We're back again. It's the itch that cannot be scratched. It is Spine Take 3. Lloyd, how are you feeling about it?
Well, hopefully it's third time lucky, I guess. Yeah, it's an itch that needs to be scratched properly this time.
So you obviously did the winter spine last January and then attempted the summer one in June 2022. What happened on both of those races?
Well, the short story is didn't finish either. The first one I had quite a reasonably bad fall on day one, but it was good enough to continue. But over the course of the event, the injury just started getting worse and worse, and by just having left Duff done, so that's about halfway between checkpoint 3 and 4, I had to call it a day. And then the summer spine, I had a pretty nasty fall after about 4 miles, which I managed to crawl pretty much another 40 odd to Hebden Bridge and dropped out there. I mean, with hindsight, I probably should have just stopped at 4 miles, but I mean, the size of my ankle was just incredible, and I did it quite some damage actually.
So the falls themselves, were they both just fluke accidents?
I've got very weak ankles, lots of trips and falls as a kid in sport I did back then. There's only so much strengthening you can do, but the ligaments are just so weak around the ankles, and that kind of terrain, particularly on day one, I just twist the ankles. I can cope with a certain level of twisting, but the one in the summer spine was pretty catastrophic. I mean, I couldn't put any weight on the foot. To do another 40 miles on it was actually a pretty big effort.
Other than using the leg brace this time, what is your race strategy?
Well, first and foremost, try not to roll my ankle around the Kinder Scout area. I seem to have done that twice in a row, which ruined the race both times. But in all seriousness, I think last year I went too hard quite early on. I got quite tired and my pace just fell away towards the second half of checkpoint 1. I think this time if I go a bit slower at the start and try and just continue that slow pace, I'll be better for it, but may actually arrive at Hebden Bridge around about the same time. And thereon, I know my pace will drop back, but just try and keep plodding along and try and keep the stops to a minimum.
After last winter's race, you said that you had wished that you'd gone through checkpoints a little bit better than you did. Do you have a better strategy for checkpoints going into it this year?
Yeah, so checkpoint 1 last year was just a bit of a disaster really. I kind of went in quite tired, thought I needed maybe a sleep or a good rest, but really didn't achieve anything, and ended up just faffing about for about an hour and a half before eventually plodding out. This time I want to be quite sharp, get in and try and leave, certainly checkpoint 1 within 15-20 minutes. Just do the basic battery check, kit check, maybe grab a quick bite of the food's ready to go, and just do the bare minimum, change socks if I have to, and get back out there, and maybe even just grab some of my own food and take it along the trail and have it on the way.
So if you're going to try and get through checkpoint 1 quite quickly, it sounds as if you're planning on being awake for at least the first 24 hours.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I learned a lot last time, and I think the plan would be to possibly even go as far as Hawes before having, that's checkpoint 2, before having my first sleep. That's going to be a fairly big ask, but I mean, maybe I might need to have a quick nap on the trail. Depends what the weather's like and what my progress is like. Beforehand, I'll have to play it by ear. You have to be flexible for a race like this.
So, training for the winter spine this year, what have you been up to?
Training's was pretty bad at the since the end of last year's spine. I've had huge back problems for a couple of years now, really bad. But I feel like over summer, suddenly started to turn a corner. The back issues have started to go away. I don't know why, but they have, which has been great. But I've been starting to put some training together, and the last 6-week block has been really good up until just before Christmas, where I've pulled a ligament. That seems to be affecting my knee quite badly. I haven't really run much since Christmas, and the plan now going into the race is to really not do any running at all. I've done a bit of cycling in the last couple of weeks. We'll have to play it by ear. Really, really slow pace. My knee seems to be okay, but it being okay for a 1 hour run versus a non-stop 260-something mile race, we'll have to see.
So what are your race aspirations going into this winter spine?
I've kind of realised that a race of this length doesn't play to really any of my fortes. I do think I can be a decent ultra runner. I mean, ultimately I came, I think, 11th in the Marathon des Sables in 2021. But, I think was the 5th all-time best British individual performance. So, I mean, it shows I'm not a bad ultra runner, but I think I'm better at the stage racing where there's a set amount of distance each day. The non-stop nature of this particular race doesn't play to my forte, and having had 2 bad races, the plan this time is just to complete. So race position is totally and utterly not on the agenda for me this time. It is just about completing it, and that is all.
And are you feeling positive about completing it?
You can't legislate for, all it takes is 1 slip, trip or fall. I'd like to think I've had my fair share of these with 2 in a row, and 2 in the first hour of the first day. But I will do my absolute utmost, and maybe I'm even more motivated to, if I have to, crawl on my hands and legs to the finish this time.
Well, let's hope it doesn't get to that point. So I wish you all the best. I hope you can do it, because I really don't want to go through a 4th set of spine. But all the best, Lloyd, and good luck for next week.
Thank you, looking forward to it.
If anybody's interested in following Lloyd, you'll see my daily videos on our YouTube channel. Stay tuned, folks, and speak to you all again soon.